Galatians 6. Galatians 6. We're going to focus on verses 7 through 9. Galatians 6, verses 7 through 9. I've been having knee issues for the better part of a month. And I just hate going. There's not even a designation for just ortho. All it says is ortho surgeon. And I mentioned knee problems for the last month. And women have pulled their dress up to their knee. Men have pulled their pants up, shoulder to the knee. Everybody in Memphis got tracks on their knee they've been operated on. So I think if you go and say knee trouble, they automatically gonna try to operate. So I'm scared of that right now. But I might have this old gout thing. Any of you older gentlemen know something about gout? Y'all ain't never had gout. They said this all this meat eating, so I got a cousin stop eating meat, so I better kind of calm down on this thing. I don't want to, but I pray the Lord let me finish today. Galatians 6, verses 7 through 9. Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to the flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. The Message Bible has a different text. It said, don't be misled. No one makes a fool out of God. What a person plants, he will harvest. The person who plants selfishness, ignoring the needs of others, ignoring God, harvests a crop of weeds. All he'll have to show for his life is weeds. But the one who plants in response to God, letting God's Spirit do the growth work in him, harvests a crop of real life, eternal life. So let's not allow ourselves to get fatigued. Hold on, folks. Doing good. At the right time, we will harvest a good crop if we don't give up or quit. The R&B group, The Main Ingredients, once sang a song that's popular to this very day. Their hit was, Everybody Plays the Fool. The chorus of that song was, everybody plays the fool sometime. There's no exception to the rule. Then the late Cuba Gooding Sr. sang, listen, baby, it may be factual, it may be cruel. I want to tell you that everybody plays the fool. Well, saints, our God never plays the fool. And that's our message on today. Our God never plays the fool. There are many that think that they are getting by. But saints, they're not getting by. They may seem like they're getting by, but they're not getting away. Our God never plays the fool. There are many in churches everywhere that are dressed up on the outside and messed up on the inside. Some are literally vogue on the outside and vague on the inside. They may be fooling us, but they're not fooling our God. Our God never plays the fool. You will reap what you sow. You will harvest what you plant. The Apostle Paul, in writing to the church in Galatia, is basically telling us that you can't pull the wool over God's eyes. Galatians 6, verse 7 from the New Living Translation reads as follows, don't be misled. You cannot mock the justice of God. You will always harvest what you plant. The basic English translation says, be not tricked. God is not made sport of, for whatever seed a man puts in, that he will get back as grain. Saints, we're living in a world where so many fall for hustles. Folks are trying to call your phone right now, trying to sell you on a car warranty that you haven't had in 4-5 years right now. The Apostle Paul in this text is letting us know that we can never pull a hustle over on God. I remember a lady was a great, super great Avon salesman at our church. and at my old church where I grew up, and they said this lady made money when nobody was making money, made a ton of money, went to the bank, and she fell for the thing that they call a pigeon drop. Pigeon drops don't work unless you're greedy. And she was greedy. You know, I went and made a bank move on one day way back in the day in Whitehaven, and dude just happened to come up. He said, "Hey man, I'm trying to look for this place right here." And then the guy said, "You don't know where that is, man?" "I know where that is." "Oh no, dude, y'all saw me make a deposit. I ain't finna do nothing, man. Both y'all need to be gone." But see, if you're not greedy, you don't fall for the pigeon drop. But see, if folks always trying to pull a hustle over you, the writer gives us this powerful premise that there's a payday coming for all of your actions. What we're sowing now is what we'll reap on tomorrow. So saints, I have to ask, what are you sowing? Matthew Henry's commentary on this text says that there are two sorts of seeding: sowing to the flesh and sowing to the spirit. So accordingly, will the reckoning be hereafter? If we sow to the flesh, we shall of the flesh reap corruption. If we sow the wind, we shall reap the whirlwind. Those who live a carnal, sensual life, who instead of employing themselves to the honor of God and the good of others, spend all of their thoughts and care and time about the flesh, must expect no other fruit of such course than corruption, a mean and short-lived satisfaction at the present, and ruin and misery at the end of it. But on the other hand, those who sow to the Spirit, who under the guidance and influence of the Spirit do live a holy and spiritual life, a life of devotedness to God and of usefulness and serviceableness to others, may depend on that of the Spirit, they shall reap life everlasting. He went on to write, those who go about to mock God but deceive himself. Listen to this. One Bible commentator wrote that God sees through our many disguises. Your disguises may fool Armin, and they may fool Tammy, and they may fool so many people up in here, but you can't fool God. They taught me that back in the day. You can't fool God. God recognizes us in our various holy masks. He sees through all of our churchy talk. Saints, so who's fooling who? Our God never plays the fool. You can't fool our God. Well, that's enough of Bible class on the day. Saints, our God never plays the fool. You will reap what you sow. You will harvest what you plant. You will get back what you send out. Saints, it would be a foolish farmer to plant some seed on it today and expect a harvest on tomorrow. So why do we expect to reap overnight? Oftentimes there's a season between our sowing and our reaping. Genesis 8 verse 22 reads as follows: while the earth remains, look under your feet, while the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and hot heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. Did you hear those words? Seed time and harvest. I'd like to break that into stages. Seed time, harvest. Saints, as long as the earth remains, there will be seed, there'll be a period of time, and then harvest. This is God's order. As sure as the earth remains, there'll be seed, time, and then harvest. As sure as the cold and hot will come, there'll be seed, time, and harvest. As sure as the seasons will change, there'll be seed, time, and then harvest. As long as there's night and day, there will be seed, time, and harvest. You'll get back what you plant. You'll reap what you sow. So it's incumbent upon each of us that we'll do our best to sow the type of seed on today that will bless us on tomorrow. This isn't an offering message. I ain't gonna come back and slip up on you and say it's 25 people here that can give 128. I ain't gonna do that. But I'm trying to tell you that there's a blessing in sowing right. So many of us are desirous of reaping when we haven't sowed. Why are you looking to reap when you ain't putting nothing in? If you don't put nothing in, you don't get There you go. Saints, we have to be in the planting business before any of us plan on reaping. Saints, if you do good one day, it's going to come back to you. Yes, I'm telling you that. The problem is that so many of us have is that God doesn't pay by the week. And sometimes God doesn't pay every 2 weeks. But before it's all over, God will pay. God doesn't always pay on your regular pay periods, but God often pays at the end. I'm reaping now from some places that I sold many years ago. My life has had hundreds of tough places where I wanted to reap on the spot and needed to reap on the spot because my need was so great, but God allows us to reap at the right time. Sometimes getting blessed at the wrong time gets you tore up. Y'all heard it in the street. A fool and his money is soon to part. I'm telling you that sometimes you want to reap right now and God knows that you can't handle it. Everybody can't handle being blessed at the right season. God now is blessing me with a little bit of stuff that I got just a little more sense, just a little bit more experience that I ain't going to do some of the stupid stuff that I've done over the years. Folks, that's a thing that comes with this thing called experience. It's a thing comes with that gray hair that Brother Bill got on that front row. Brother Young got on that front row, and Brother Bill got right behind him. I ain't gonna call you by your nickname, Brother Bill, but I know that you got some experience with that gray hair. And I'm telling you that sometimes you gotta just, life teaches you some lessons, folks. You ain't gotta be all this. That's why I spend time talking to old cats. Folks say, man, you talking to another old cat? I hear them because they didn't seen it before. They ain't seen the script. They didn't played the game. They ain't seen how it comes out. And you better find a way to listen to someone with experience. I don't know where that came from, but everybody old that's talking ain't crazy. Y'all better start listening. I don't know where that came from. That just came out. I said, saints, if you do good one day, it's not coming. It's coming back to you. It's not coming just instantly. But God allows us to reap at the right time. Yes. I know that it looks like the wicked are prospering because that's how the enemy does when you're going through the fight of your life. And you're going through the darkest days of your life. The enemy makes you see everybody that looks like they booming. Everybody that looks like they swelling. Everybody that looks like they on fleek. If they do, they still say that. Everybody that looks like they out here doing it. The enemy makes you see it when you're going through the worst times of your life. And I know it looks like the wicked are prospering and growing at a record pace, but one day you'll look for them and they won't be found. Saints, serving God will pay off, as the old preacher used to say, after a while. Our God never plays the fool. Every man and every woman will get their just due. We have to be very intentional on what we sow. Saints, because that's exactly what we'll reap. Saints, Deborah and I are reaping in this moment in places where we sowed ages ago. Can you wait for God, saints? Will you stay true while you're waiting on your harvest? God may not bless you on tomorrow. He may not bless you on next week. He might not bless you next year. But God will bless you and stay true to his word in your life. God knows the right time to send the harvest. It's our job to be in the right position and posture to receive the harvest that God sends us. Our God is true to his word. His word will never return unto him void. Our God is a man, not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. If he spoke it, it's going to come to pass. God will do just what he says. So saints, get out there and plant. Saints, get out there and sow. Let them laugh at you. You just keep right on sowing. I'm not talking about karma. You know, we saw even church folk talking about karma. They ain't talking about no karma. Karma ain't in the Bible. I'm talking about sowing and reaping. I'm talking about God's word. It's so great to sow in the short term and then to realize that it's coming back. Well, I don't know the winds and wares of God, but I do know what I sowed is coming back. When you hear about sowing and reaping, we're all ready to buck and shout, but that's when we're reaping those things that are pleasant. What about all those times when we're sowing to the flesh? You still reap. Saints, there still are some harvests that all of us are praying not to see. This flesh will get you in trouble time and again. There are just some seeds that we pray will never have a harvest. There are people in cemeteries early because they reaped adversely from a bad seed that they sowed. If you put it out there, it's coming back. You don't go in front of no bunch of dudes talking crazy in 2021. I knew a dude that they told this cat that you better not be here when I come back. Now, I'm from the streets. You tell me that I better not be there when I come back. I'm going to be gone by the time you come back. But how you going to still be at the club 2 hours later after a young cat, tells you not to be there when he comes back? You had 2 hours to leave. I don't care if you driving a 68 Oldsmobile, you could have got out of there in 2 hours, and this young cat told you not to be there. And I had a friend, he didn't leave, and the guy was waiting for him to walk out the door, and that's the end of his life. Folks, sometimes when you sow, while God may do things slow, the enemy is always on your trail to make you reap quick. If you put it out there, it's coming back. Aren't you tired of reaping the wrong things? Am I the only one that has ever reaped something bad? Have any of you all reaped from some decisions where you sowed to the flesh? Every now and then we need to each lend ourselves to self-examination. We need to explore our harvest. The flesh will always send the wrong harvest. Going to the wrong house. I'm preaching hard this morning. Hanging with the wrong people. Talking at the wrong time and craving the wrong things will leave us steep prices to pay in 2021. Sowing to the flesh often gets a swifter reward, as I say, than the rate of things that we reap when we sow to the Spirit. Yeah. God often pays after a while. God seeks the saints to grab a hold of things through faith and patience. I heard you all say that back there. However, the enemy is always playing for keeps. Sowing to your flesh on today might catch a bad harvest for you on today too. The flesh has a way of sending so much drama our way. While walking with Christ is no cakewalk, I do know that walking in the flesh leads to a much worse harvest. So many of our unsaved friends look like they're getting by, but saints, they're not getting away. I remember when I was driving that old hoopty, I was driving a hoopty, and all of my friends, they got the vet set. They got the vet set. And I said, Lord, I want one of them vets too. I want to do what they do. I want to get what they get. I want to have what they have. But I look back over life, and God might have stopped some things that I thought was supposedly bad that I ended up, but he was actually protecting me because I've been to more than my share of funerals right out of South Memphis, right with the kids that lived in the Lemoyne Garden, right in the folks that were hanging out in the hole. Tammy, you don't know nothing about that. Tammy couldn't go outside. She didn't know nothing about no hole. They wouldn't let her off the street. I'm just telling you, there's so many decisions that you think that God just cursed your life. And God didn't put you on the fast track, but he was protecting you from things that might ultimately harm you. Folks, it's something, you may not have all the riches in the world, but it's something to have this thing called peace of mind. I don't care how big the house is, how big the car is. There's some folks out there with biggest houses, big as this block, that ain't got the sense to enjoy it. They don't have the peace of mind. They can't sleep at night. And I told you one time they were messing with me at work, and God told me, he said, Steve, I'm going to visit them in their sleep. You may think that some folks are getting by and getting over on you, and God knows how to get them jokers every time they try to close their eyes. They dogged you out. They did you wrong, but every time they try to sleep, God's bringing your face before them. Saints, we serve a God that protects. We serve a God that can catch them in their sleep. The Bible said that he gives his beloved sleep. So wouldn't the inverse be true, that if you ain't with God, you ain't rolling with God, that he knows how to make your sleep? I went cover to cover. I said, that's so crazy, Steve. You just been eating a lot of steak, and you've been eating a lot of food, and you out of your mind. You've been eating late at night, talking about God saying that he gonna visit somebody in their sleep. And I went through the Bible, and cover to cover, it showed that God came and visited people in sleep. That God came and gave a dream. That God came and gave a warning. God came and gave instructions time and again. So saints, I'm telling you that God knows how to get your point across. God knows how to protect you. God knows how to deliver you. And I'm telling you, God never plays the fool. You can't make a fool out of God. No matter how you dress it up, no matter how you post holy things on social media, it's amazing sometimes. You read their posts on the Facebook, on the Instagram, on the Snapchat, and on the TikTok, and they're talking about God one day, and then they got the next day. Saints of God, I'm telling you, we're living in troubled times. Everybody thinks they're fooling you, and you can fool me, but you can't fool God. My grandmother told me that way back in the day, and I'm telling you that our God never plays the fool. You can't fool God. Saints, just look at what we've been reaping, and that will give you an overview on what we've been planting. If we keep planting onions, then why should we expect to reap steak? This world wants everything easy, but that's not God's pattern. You will reap exactly what you sow. I put some seed in the ground years ago that I'm just starting to see some harvest from. Our God never plays the fool. You give me 6 minutes and I'm gonna finish this thing. You may be smooth, you may be all that and a bag of chips, but you can't fool God. You will reap what you sow. Stop sowing things on today that will curse your life on tomorrow. We need to discover way after way to sow to our spirits, because that's the only way that will earn us the correct spiritual paycheck. Saints, why go through hell and high water on this side for 70, and in case of Brother Young, even more, and then go to hell on the other side? Saints, I'm going to sow different, so I don't have to keep reaping the same old things. You'll get back what you sow. Our God never plays the fool. Let's get out of the business of trying to trick God. Let's get out of the business of trying to manipulate God. Let's start sowing the right things so we can see some new harvest. So stop trying to fool God. We spend ages sowing to this flesh, and I promise in the midst of another surge in this pandemic and serious challenges, the harvest that we're about to reap, we won't be proud of. Our God never plays the fool. That's why I don't worry about the meeting after the meeting. I don't worry about the Zoom after Zoom, because this is our season for grace, for favor. This is our season to reap what we sow. This is our season for grace, yeah. This is our season to reap what we sow. See, I haven't been perfect, saints of God, but I sure been faithful. See, God's got a purpose, yes, and I know He's able. We got a seed in the ground, but He's blessed it. No more stressing. We got a seed in the ground. Now we know, and then we can show them. 2 Corinthians 9 verse 6. But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall also reap sparingly, and he that soweth bountifully shall also reap bountifully. Psalm 126 verses 5 and 6. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. He that goeth forth and weepeth, bearing precious seed, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. Saints, are most happy that our God gave Himself for us. What Adam got us into, Jesus got us out of. in Genesis 3:15, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy heel, and thou shalt bruise his heel. God was telling that old smooth-footed serpent what's about to come from the seed of the woman. Jesus died so the enemy can forever be under our feet. He died until the sun refused to shine. He died to redeem us from the curse of the law. He died while we were yet sinners. He died until the veil of the temple was rent from the top to the bottom. He died on the cross, but he could have cursed the cross while it was still just a tree. He died until the earth rocked and reeled. He died until the earth shook his chimney. He died until the earth had more bounce to the ounce. He died until the earth looked like a dance floor. Saints, I heard God he said, it's been a long time coming. And like God has said, we need to get back to the basics. Jesus died, but he's coming back again. Now that's what's up. What's up, all right? What's up, my man? What's up, Tanny? What's up, back there? Saints of God. Our God never brings the fool. He's coming back for a church without a spot, a church without a wrinkle. Saints, it's time to get our house in order. Our God never brings the fool. Saints of God, I'm telling you, that's what's up in Memphis. Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis in the